Hi, this is David Brow. I've been selling real estate for close to 10 years. Our team of highly trained professionals, along with our marketing plan, has sold hundreds of homes all over Fort Wayne, and this is how we do it. All right, so I am with Dave Affholter, and he is our newest producing agent on our team here at Anthony REALTORS. And Dave has been a licensed real estate for right at 3 months now. Um, so I wanted to get on a call with Dave because he's been in now long enough that he's has some experience, has some time in the profession of real estate, where I think that he can share some good advice, some good nuggets of wisdom for people who are thinking about getting into real estate, and just kind of want to know, what does it look like for the first couple months of being in real estate. So, Dave, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your morning today. I know you're very busy. You've got some showings right after this. You got a closing later today, and all the other
Yeah,
stuff that you got to pack in the day. So I really appreciate that.
yeah, not a problem.
Dave, just first off, just curious, what did you do before you got into real estate?
Okay, so I started in sports video when I was in college. I filmed for the University of St. Francis football team and the basketball team, and just found a passion for that. So I spent 15 years doing that, and at some point I realized I'd done everything I wanted to do, and it really wasn't progressing at the pace that I wanted it to. And so I decided to leave that entire industry and say I've got other skills that can be useful marketplace. And so I bounced around a couple different jobs that I tried out and did some different worked in factories and worked on sales floors, and never quite found my niche. But every time I made a different change, I'd always consider real estate as an option, and every single time it just wasn't the right time. So this most recent time, I said this would actually be the best time to do it. So that's when I made the decision to take my pre-licensing exam and jump into real estate.
Awesome. So you said that you worked in factories. What
Huh?
what was that like? What was that like?
Um, Different experience. I grew up in that environment. My dad owned a factory, and he used to bring me in to clean up on Sundays and things like that. And so I was very comfortable in that environment, but it just wasn't a good fit for me. It seemed like all the different jobs that I had, I was always trying to do more with it. I always wanted to do more, and I felt like there were a lot of places that I went to. People were surprised that I wanted to do more than that one thing that I was doing there.
Gotcha.
And I had higher aspirations, and I just wanted to really find a place where people valued me for what I could do in the future and my growth potential, as opposed to just the way that I came on as a
Mm-hmm.
you know uh, starting out.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I really like about real estate is really you are kind of rewarded for the value that you add, directly proportionate. So if you work hard and you improve people's lives and you get them in and out of homes, in a way that fits their needs, then you get rewarded for that for sure. So I think you probably mostly answered my next question, but it's just, why did you get into real estate? And it sounds like for those types of reasons. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. I'm a very service-minded individual, and
I've
I've
noticed.
been through different home transactions myself. I've moved several times in the past 5 years, and so I understood the process, and I understood how stressful it can be. And so one thing that I just strive to do for people is to serve in a way that is going to reduce that stress the best that I can, but also find the thing that is going to be most valuable to them in the process, and try to serve them in that way. Um, Different people have different needs. It's not just about the dollars and cents. It's not just about the square footage. People have emotional needs that need to be handled throughout the course of a transaction. Some people, it's a joyous experience to get this new home, and other people, they it's so stressful that by the time they get there, they're just like, I'm so glad that's over.
Mhm.
But I do believe that in the end, they're going to look back and say, we're really glad we did that, and they're glad that I was there in the interim to help work through those things. And I've been there. I've had real estate agents who have served me in the past that I have really looked up to and really changed the way that I saw the entire industry. So uh, if I can do that for other people, then I feel like I've accomplished something.
Awesome. Well, in the short time that you've been in real estate and what I've seen, it looks like you are doing that. So, well done, man.
Thank you.
So you've been in real estate for, just like we said, just right at 3 months.
Hmm.
So, in this time, the short time, so you started with no past clients, really no pipeline. You have a sphere that you kind of began contacting, and that's something that we recommend all agents do and all companies is reach out to your sphere and let people know that you getting in real estate, and we don't want you to be a secret agent. So what have been kind of like your biggest challenges up to this point, and surprises maybe of you didn't expect a job in real
Okay.
estate involved?
Yeah. So the biggest challenge has been, personally for me, has been overcoming my own insecurities. There's it typically takes me some time to really kind of get to know somebody and kind of step out of my box. I'm more of a dip my toe in the water type of person. I don't just jump right into relationships with people. But in this instance, it seems like people need you to jump right in and engage them in the process. There's times when, you know, people that I just met say, "Hey, we need to find a house right now. We need you to step up and start, looking at places for us and finding us the right place, and then come alongside us and help us work through this process."
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, here we go. So I tend to think that people would want to take more time to get to know me a little bit and kind of really understand how I'm going to serve them. And a lot of times I just need to just jump right in and say, yeah, I'm going to serve you, the best that I can,
Mhm.
um, right away.
Mhm.
And that's been a challenge, especially over
Mhm.
the phone.
Mhm.
I've just talking with people,
Mhm.
and I just kind of introduce myself. Hi, I'm Dave Affholter. I'm a real estate agent, and there are times when people just say, "Hey, we are looking for a home right now. Can you find us one?" And
Mhm.
that's it's great.
Mhm.
It's exciting that people are that interested just in speaking with me on the phone, just to work with me. But at that point, I need to, you know, get over the insecurities that I have, and really just go for it, and say this person needs my help at this point, and I'm going to help them.
Mhm. Thank you for that honest kind of answer. It like we talk about a lot, like a lot of just real estate is your mindset, and I think it's very common. It's something that I deal with. Everybody deals with is just insecurities or just a mindset that doesn't support your goals or your vision, and it's a challenge for me. I would imagine it's a challenge for really for most people because your everything kind of just starts with the proper mindset. If you're in the right state of mind, you're way more likely to want to connect with people and stuff like that. So, but Dave, from what I've seen, you do a pretty good job. So I think that you're doing a good job hiding it. If that if that is the case, or just getting over it. So I want to say great job on that.
Yeah, thanks. I do feel that people, if they have something they have to work through, that they tend to be better at it on the other side. So it's the struggle that creates growth.
Absolutely.
so there are things that I struggle with, um, and I have to work at being better at, and I'm still working at all
Mm,
the things that I need to be better at in this job. But just my mindset for sure
yeah,
has been step number one.
yeah.
But you also said what surprises. Has there been any
Mhm.
surprises since I started? The biggest surprise for me was how impactful it was the first time somebody said to me, "You are our real estate agent. Um, that you're going to be our realtor." And I just kind of I was speechless. You know, I'd never heard anybody say that before, and that was the first time. So it was very moving to me to hear that, and that surprised me more than anything in this job.
Nice. That's awesome. Um, Another like common challenge that all real estate agents have to deal with is time management. So time management, is something that is super important, as we know, because in real estate we're on 100% commission type income, and our days can get lost very quickly just by not being really intentional with our time. And I know that you come in here and you do your prospecting. Do you block out time to do certain activities in real estate? Have you found
Yes.
that to be helpful for you, or?
So far, just getting started, I've been very flexible with people as far as the times that they can meet. If somebody has a certain meeting time, I say, yeah, 100%. Let's just jump right in, and I will work my schedule around that because I really haven't had a base of appointments at this point. So as soon as people say, they have a meeting time available, you say, I'm going to drop whatever I'm doing right then and be able to be available to them. I really do need to start to work around the schedule that I have. There's times when I say, yeah, I just can't do that. Um, but as of right now, I kind of start my day and expect to, do some prospecting first thing in the morning, and then throughout the day, later on in the day, as the appointments kind of stack up. Typically, most of my appointments take place in the afternoon.
Mhm,
Very seldom do people call me up and say they want to do a showing in the morning or meet with me in the mornings.
mhm,
So kind of block out the mornings for prospecting specifically.
mhm,
And then I do need, that is definitely something I need to improve on. I really feel like I've had good initial success,
mhm,
but kind of the law of diminishing returns, where if I'm going to continue doing this the way I'm doing it, I'm not going to continue to see the same success later on.
mhm.
So I need to redouble my efforts, in the next phase of what I'm doing to keep things going and really go to the heights that I want to take it.
Nice.
As of right now, I've been happy with just getting off the ground, and I've been really excited about the opportunities that are coming my way. I've only had one home sold at this point, but I've got others in the mix right now. So
Mhm,
um, I'm looking to close on one today, like you said,
mhm,
and so it's an exciting time
mhm,
for me for sure.
mhm,
But I do recognize that I'm going to need to improve on all the things that I'm doing in order
mhm.
to see any continued success in it.
Nice. That's I really applaud you for seeing that and recognizing that, especially so early on in your career. I think a lot of real estate agents, they time goes by and they're not doing the important things that helps them advance along, and that really is just being deliberate with your time. It's prospecting. That's the one thing that most people they don't want to do, but it's also the most important thing that you can do for your business. And their early wins is super important in your career for your mindset and just for your finances too. So going 6 months and just roaming around, not really having the right plan to get to where you want to go is definitely a recipe for failure. So, and I'm glad that you see that, and you know that you got to just keep getting better at it. That's how we all have to be. So So like we said, you've been in the business for about 90 days, and you've closed on one house. So you've had one closing. You have four now pending. Four.
4 pending.
You
Yeah,
have four
one to
pending.
close today.
One
So
closing today. And so you're building this pipeline that started at zero uh, three 3 months ago. So
right.
that's pretty good. Just from like some perspective, it can take people many months just to have one closing. So you're definitely well on your way, kind of to get your goals. I think so. You have set a goal of selling, closing on 36 houses in 2019. So you began your career, a week before the new year, 2 weeks before the new year. So you definitely have like a full 2019 to accomplish this goal, but you're starting
Hmm.
at zero, zero pipeline. So
Right.
I think your goal is achievable, but we set it so that it will be challenging. And I think you've understood it from day one. 36 houses is a lot for anybody, but definitely for somebody starting out. So now that you're a quarter of the year in, how do you feel about that goal? Do you think it's still achievable for you? Just kind of what are your thoughts on that now that you have some
Yeah,
perspective?
it's achievable. The goal was at the time when I had zero closings, 0 houses under contract or anything like that,
Right.
to sell 36 houses in a year sounded sounded like made up, and so when I first saw that, I was like, there's no way I'm going to sell 3 houses a month. But now that I've seen a, a little bit of that, I realize that it is achievable, but it is going to take a lot of effort. Like, so the 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 homes that I've sold so far, even though it's been 3 months, I'm already 3 months into the year now. So I'm already behind on my schedule for
Mm-hmm.
selling that many houses. So like I said, I really do need to kind of buckle down at this point and redouble my efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would love to be able to hit 36,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd love to be able to sell more than that
Mm-hmm.
this year if I can. Um, uh, if I try and fail, uh, I'm I want to make sure that I did everything I possibly could to 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 get there.
Right. Right. Um, so speaking of getting there, what are you going to do? What are your plans to get to that goal, or at least get as close as possible? Are you going to continue with the same types of leads, from the company? You've been really good at open houses. You've done, I don't know, 5 or 6 open houses. You use our open house system to a T. Will
Right.
you continue doing that? Just what are your plans for the rest of the 3 quarters
Yeah,
to
open
get it?
houses have been a good lead source for me. They get me in front of buyers, and it's a investment of time as opposed to money. I didn't have any money to invest, with zero income to start the year, so that was a great way for me to get out in front of buyers, and it was a great way for me to uh, get over some of those early bumps in the road with people, and just get out there and just interact with people. And I
Mhm.
realized very early on at some point that um, the the mindset that I was going into was not always correct. When I would approach somebody and say, "Oh, they probably don't want to use me as a real estate agent," and then all of a sudden recognize somewhere in the conversation that, oh, they are actually engaging me, to be their agent. And so then I transitioned back around. But there's those opportunities at open houses with all these people coming through, and you get to see a lot of different types of people come through. And so it was actually really good for me to get in front of people. And there are people who are currently in contact with me, based solely off of the open house.
Mhm.
People who just walked through the door, and when I started speaking with them, I realized that they were going to be moving here very shortly,
Mhm.
and that they were talking to me as if they needed a real estate agent at that point. So it was a great opportunity. And then it came down to whether or not I could actually, you know, follow through and, say, hey, yeah, I'm going to do what I can to make sure that this person understands that I want to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a challenge, but it was a great opportunity at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, I think open houses are like a natural, great fit for you because you get to be in front of people, and I think you're a high I. You kind of you feed off the energy of people. People build you up, and you in turn kind of accelerate their mood or their just kind of comfortable with you. So you have the ability to build rapport with people just naturally because I think people, they trust you. You're just a very kind person and people see that, and you're able to build rapport naturally with people. So open houses are a good fit for you. I would definitely say that. Your first open house was like 2 days before Christmas? And
2 days
everybody,
before Christmas.
people said like, why are you even doing that? That was your first experience at an open house, and you had probably
22 people came through that day.
people
Yeah.
came through. So that was
Yeah.
probably pretty fun. It was snowing too, or something cold.
It was cold. It was actually a really nice day
Oh, it was?
for open house, in December.
Mm-hmm.
As good as you could imagine that it would be. But it was chilly out,
Yeah.
but the sun came out and started shining, and people started pouring through the door, and got to have a lot of great conversations with people, and got to hear objections from people,
Mm-hmm.
and then realized that the how to speak with somebody when they're saying all negatives about a home or about myself even, like, why would you even have this open house on Christmas, 2 days before Christmas? And I'm like, well, you're here.
It's true.
So yeah,
That is true.
must have worked, and so uh, just those kind of things, and working through, realizing that I'm more comfortable dealing with objections that people have, and um, more comfortable in the interactions with people than I realized. And then at the end of the day, having had conversations with 25 people, I really was expecting myself to be exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't. And so I realized that, like you said, I do get energized by the interactions with people, and a lot of people, they need to kind of decompress after something like that. And I was going from open houses to showings,
Mm-hmm.
right back to back. So I was completely fine with it. By the end of the day, I wasn't exhausted. It's a long day,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't exhausted like I was expecting to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and ultimately, I'm not pitching the home as much. I thought when I first started that I was going to try to, you know, um, show people all the benefits of one home over the next, and really it was more about finding the right fit for people,
Mm-hmm.
and so it takes a lot of pressure off to try to say, yeah, this home's really great. This home is the right fit for you. And sometimes people are like, this isn't at all what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't what I was looking for. And then the opportunity then is to say, well, let's find what you're looking for, and I can help you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been good. It's you've given me a lot of uh, good knowledge um, about how to go about all these things, and things that I wasn't expecting to have to um, deal with in the job. But I've really do feel like I've gotten a leg up just being able to step right in and have that kind of information to go off of and realize um, what other people have been doing this for years are saying this is the way to be successful in this. So I really do feel like I've gotten a good opportunity there, and other agents that I've talked to, when I said that I was working with Anthony, they said you are in the best place as a first-time agent. As a new agent, you are going to be taken care of very, very well.
Wow, that is really humbling to hear that. Um,
I
so
I I, I believed him.
yeah.
I said, yeah, well, we'll see. But no, I 100% knew it from the start. But to hear other people say it was encouraging
Wow.
early on.
Wow. Um, thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who are probably watching this might be just thinking about taking the leap into getting into real estate, and
Hmm.
it's a scary thing to do for people because you're leaving the comfort of a job where you're getting a check every week or every couple of weeks, and you're venturing into an industry that's very competitive,
Hmm.
that is, as we know, 100% commission. So you don't make things happen. You don't get paid. So it's scary. So to the new agent or the person who's thinking about even getting a license, what would you say to them as they are, just thinking about getting into the business? What's some piece of advice that in your short time in real estate that you, some wisdom that you've kind of acquired that you could help them with?
I think you said it well when you said it is, you are basically an entrepreneur. You are your own small
Yeah.
business. You have to make your own success.
Hmm.
And so you, it's a different mindset from your 9 to 5 job. You have to come in and you have to do the work that is going to get you the results that you want. Um, and so that is step number one. I think the next step is learning from people who know what they're talking about. And that's what I really appreciated about working here is that we have coaching sessions um, outside of this team, and we sit down and have webinars with people who have been doing this and are coaching real estate agents all across the country. So that's a great resource to be able to say, what are other people doing, and the idea that um, we're not just going to come in and do a process and expect results. We're going to go out and learn new ways of doing it and new um, things that we might not know from day one. And certainly, I didn't know anything from day one, but I've seen that people in this office have gone out and found new resources to bring to the team, and said, hey, you should, you're always sending me, messages saying, hey, you should watch this. This is a great, uh, resource that I came across earlier today. And I think it really fits well with what, you're working with right now. So that part of it. And then the idea of going out and the prospecting scripts, going out and getting your own business going is a big part of it. And that's really the part that I need to look at next is where am I going to find my next clients? um, I've got a lot of success lined up for the month of March, and then where does April come from? It's a 30-day cycle. So um, by the time you sign a contract to purchase a home and close on it, it's 30 days. So the people that I'm going to be, closing with a month from now haven't even purchased their home yet.
Hmm.
Um, and so that part of it is something that I really had to wrap my head around. That the success is great, but it's temporary. You know, you need to line something up for the next round,
Hmm.
month to month to month, and week to week. Um, the idea of planning out my week was a, a weakness of mine. Um, and so having a plan each week to, you know, I'm going to need to do so many things this week in order to be successful. That at the end of this week, I can look back and say, yeah, I did a good job. And I got the results I was looking for. That was certainly a weakness of mine. I say it's still a weakness of mine, and I still need to improve on it. But Jared helped me out with his weekly planner
Hmm.
and his time blocking um, presentation that he gave, and then he shared the weekly planner with me. So that helped. That gave me a big step forward in that way, because I really would be missing my opportunities to follow up with people if it wasn't for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Habits are so important, and we're all susceptible. We all have the same brain, we're all susceptible to the same kind of temptations of falling back on our habits and not wanting to do the thing. So it's a challenge for really anybody. It's the discipline of getting into habits. So time blocking and living in a calendar, if you've never dealt with that before, it's a challenge for sure. So it'll probably continue to be a challenge for you, just like it is for me. But I think the more you do it, the more it just becomes natural to you, and that's when like the habit really does start for you. So, but you've been getting every week. When we do our one-on-ones, we open our calendar, we talk about the time you spent prospecting. It's just you're getting better and better at it. So that all translates into just improving your pipeline. So as you just were talking about, what I have closings this month, what about next month? And you're building this pipeline. It can take months and months and months and months to do. So you're definitely seeing, like, now that you've been in it 90 days, the fruits of just starting out with nothing, and then having your first 30 days where you did you started right away, prospecting and stuff like that. So some people you started with, you might already be wanting to like look at houses, and then other people who you just started talking to, it might be months before it even gets to really an appointment, and some people might not want your help at all. So it's all about just talking to many people and working really hard. So
Yeah, I look back on those early phone calls that I had. The early conversations that I had with people were so bad.
Yeah.
It's such like, and I realized at some point that I was not communicating well, that I was not getting my point across, or that I just wasn't, I didn't understand what I needed to do to really serve them well. And then at some point, when I realized that my calls weren't going well, I did kind of shift my focus a little bit, and it wasn't so much about is this person ready to buy a house? It was how does this person need to be served in the future or right now? And so that has been a big part of it for me. But I realized for any agent starting out, like, those early phone calls are gonna be rough. And you get over it. You just trudge on through. Just don't even think about those ones. Just move on. And that was a big selling point that you said early on was, you have to be able to fail forward. You have to be able to get over your failures and expect to fail, and learn from those failures.
And it's the meaning that you give to those failures. If you see it as, we say the word failure, but if you see it as a failure, or if you see it as just an opportunity to learn, those are two different mindsets. So you have to be uncomfortable. You have to. Everybody has to go through the same process. You have to know what it's like to make the calls, to feel uncomfortable, to face rejection. But it's really the meaning that you put behind it, I believe, is like the biggest determining factor on whether you can move out of that kind of uncomfortableness. It's always going to be not pleasant to call people, because when you're prospecting, you're interrupting somebody's day. No matter how you look at it, you're interrupting their day or whatever they're doing. But it's an important piece of being in real estate. It's communicate with people. You have to communicate with people. So the quicker that you are able to do it, the better. One way or another, you got to do it. So if you just double down and do it quickly and get over that quicker, I think that's better. Wouldn't you agree? Like,
absolutely, yeah. The one thing I would say is, it is an interruption to people's day. It's not necessarily bad. It's not a sometimes it's a welcomed interruption. People are like, wow, I'm so glad you called me.
And it's surprising sometimes, like you think that maybe, they're gonna, but they're like, oh, hey, and they carry a long conversation, and they're happy to talk to somebody. Like they just want to just talk to somebody, and they will talk and talk and talk if you let them.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a guy. He called me. I saw unrecognized number in my phone.
Uh-huh.
And so I answered it, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, is Ray there?" And I said, "No, this is Dave Affholter. I'm a, you're looking for Ray?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, there's no Ray here." He's like, "Okay, thanks." And I thought about it. I hung up the phone. I thought about it. I was like, I want to talk to that guy more. He just sounded like he was, he and I were having a good time talking on the phone. And so I called him back. And I said, "Hey, did you ever find Ray?" He's like, "No, I never got a hold of Ray." I was like, "Oh, I'm a real estate agent. You want to buy a house?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, let's
Ah.
find me a house. We'll go look at it." And it was a welcomed interruption in my day.
Yeah.
At the time, the calls were not going real great for me at that
Mhm.
moment. And so that was actually the best lead that I had at the time, because I had I was not trying to pitch him on anything. I was just talking to the guy.
Mhm.
And then I have been showing him houses since then.
Mhm.
So that kind of stuff it's an opportunity,
Mhm.
that I was not expecting to get
Mhm.
in making phone calls. But it those interruptions in people's day, you call them and you say, "Yeah, I'm a real estate agent. I'm going to try to help you find a house."
Mhm.
Some people are like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I need right now.
Mhm.
We need to find a house right now," and it's a great opportunity for them. So you know, sorry that I interrupted somebody's day if they were at work, or if they were busy right then, but it's worth it to find that one person who says, "Yes, we
Yeah.
absolutely need you to help us out." And
Mhm.
that's kind of how I look at it. Is just kind of focus on the positive of it, that there is somebody out there that is needing to find a home.
Mhm.
You know, whether it's now or in the next 12 months,
Mhm.
they're gonna need to be talking to somebody about it. And as of right now, they're talking to me.
Mhm.
So that's
Yep.
that's the way that I look at the whole thing.
That's awesome. And had you not called that guy back and pursued that, you never would have known. So that's great that you took it to that next kind of level and pursued him even just past that. So I called. I was doing some prospecting yesterday, and just a past client from the summer. He was an investor. Just was on my list of people to call, and I just called him, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "I was just thinking about you." I was like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, I got a house I want to sell." I was like, "Okay, well, tell me about it." And later that day, yesterday, I met him over at the house, and he's going to be put on the market here pretty soon.
That
It's a
all happened in one day.
it's a flip for him. Yeah, it was like 2 hours later. It's like, well, I'm available this afternoon. So
Wow.
without calling people, without interrupting them and following them, the likelihood of him actually calling me, I would guess, was probably unlikely. Even though it was in his head, the next real estate agent that talks to him, whatever. There's a lot of real estate agents out there. You've got to get out there, and you've got to communicate with people and pursue them, because nobody's ever going to just pursue you, no matter how good you are. You've got to remind people what you do, the value that you bring. Especially, if you're a good real estate agent like yourself and like the people here, like, own it, be proud of it. If you really believe that you can help somebody, it makes it a lot easier to quote interrupt their day, because you're interrupting with something very helpful, something very important, usually to
Yeah.
tell them. So
Yeah.
um, so, Dave, just a few more questions. So, what would you think, or what would you say to anybody who is thinking about joining our team?
Oh, well, I would say that I have not regretted one moment of it. Um, Joining this team has been one of the best career decisions that I've ever made. That might not be for everybody, but from my perspective, uh, I've been 100% satisfied with the treatment that I've gotten here, the people that I work with. I love the vision of the company. I love the values of the company, and the people that I work with here are respectful to one another and respectful to the people that we work with. Um, and the people that we work for are clients. And so I've been very pleased with that aspect of it. That is not something that I saw in um, other places I've worked. And so to have that is a real blessing for me. The best thing I can tell for another agent would be that your platform for how you onboard agents is to set them up for success, to be able to provide them the tools to be successful. Whether or not you're going to do it or not is up to you, but you're providing, the opportunity for anybody to come in here and say, if you do the things that you need to be successful, you can find success here at Anthony Realtors.
Thank you. That's really actually all the questions that I have, Dave. Good luck at your closing today.
Thank you.
And your showings this morning. And that's it. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.